Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. That time of the month, it is my September reading wrap up. Just finished my last book of the month for today. I mean, is today the last day of the month? Today's the 30th. Yep, there's 30 days in September. I just finished a book today, which wraps up my month. I think this was a slower month for me. Honestly, it felt really good having like a refreshing slow month. I did get in like a little bit of a slump, but like it wasn't anything crazy. I kind of got out of it. 10.5 books. I think I counted it a few days ago and I only read 8 or 9 books at that point, and I was like, wow, really slow. And for like a split second it made me like feel bad just a little bit because I've been reading so much over the past few months. Then I took a step back and I was like, I love to preach how it's not a competition of how many books you read a month. So I told myself that. I had to like remind myself that like it doesn't matter how many books you read in a month, you know? Starting out this month is when I did my reading thrillers books, which literally felt like I did that so long ago. The 2 that I ended up reading in September were these. First is The Maidens by Alex I think it's Michaelides, author of The Silent Patient. I was so excited to read this because The Silent Patient for me was like slow storyline, but the plot twist really got me. So I was like, okay, hopefully this is kind of the same. It's basically about this woman who is a group therapist whose husband passed away, and her niece calls her from her college, tells her to turn on the news, and she sees that there has been a murder of one of the students at the college that her niece goes to. And the niece is like, I think it's my friend, there's something going on. Then the aunt decides to go there to kind of investigate, make sure her niece is safe. It's also the college that she went to when she was younger, where she met her husband. So you get all of those flashbacks, and then you get all like the nostalgia of that, but then you also have her trying to figure out what's going on and kind of interfering with the police a little bit. This one, as you can see by the front, I knew from the start of it that it was like some kind of Greek mythology and Greek stuff in this. I'm not a big person on Greek mythology. I don't really personally care for it. I don't know a lot about it, and it's not something I like to read about, so I was kind of iffy when those parts would come up, but he explains it really well and it makes sense within the storylines. Don't let that deter you from reading this if you're iffy about Greek mythology as well. It's not crazy. It's definitely in the storyline, but like it's explained very well as long as you like keep up with it. The main woman character suspects it being her niece's professor because he's very creepy, and he's just like suspicious because he has this like group of girls that he teaches called the Maidens. It's just very eerie. It's very weird. What I loved about this is that the chapters were really quick, literally like a page or a page and a half, at most like 3 pages each chapter. Found myself like reading it really quick. You can watch me reading thrillers for a week to get more in depth of my opinions and my reactions to the end and everything like that. I think I liked this one a little bit better than Silent Patient just because the storyline of this one, like as it was going, I was more interested. Silent Patient was kind of slow for me, but I liked the twist in the Silent Patient more. On this one I kind of, as I was going, put the pieces together and I figured it out, so that was a little bit of a bummer, but it was still a good read. I love his writing, and his writing style is very different than other thrillers and mysteries that I read, so I think I rated this one 4 stars. I enjoyed this one. Also, if you read The Silent Patient, Theo makes a little cameo in here, which was really funny. And also, as I said, the professor was like her main suspect. Every time there's a professor in a book, my brain goes to Ezra from Pretty Little Liars. I can't get his face out of my head when I'm reading about a young professor, so thought I should say that. I don't know why it's every time. And then my queen, Alice Feeney, read Daisy Darker. I read 2 of her books this month. I love her writing so much. Absolutely loved this. So it's about this family who is summoned, I guess you could say, to their grandmother's house that she lives on. A house kind of like overlooking the water, so like at a certain time of night the water and the tide comes in, so they can't leave until the next morning when the tide goes back out. So they come to celebrate her birthday. The whole family goes. I think it's the main character, and then she has sisters who I'm pretty sure it's like Poppy, Rose, Lily, and I was like, this is really giving me Addicted vibes. And there's also a Connor in here. The characters, I was like, did she like do this on purpose? There's the main character, her 2 sisters, her sister's daughter, her parents, and then the grandma, and then Connor are all the characters in here, and they can't leave the house, and as the water comes up there's like a storm going on, so all the power, and like they can't use their phones, all that kind of stuff. They're kind of stranded in this house, and then someone dies. Did they tell you who dies? Is that a spoiler? Okay, yeah. At midnight, Nana is found dead. The grandma dies, and then everyone's pointing at each other. You don't know what's going on. As it keeps going, more people are turning up dead, and you're trying to figure out who's doing it as you're in the main character's point of view. The ending of this one, as I've been reading Alice Feeney's books, I'm trying to like get her before she gets me, and the ending of this one is in another book that I read. I didn't like that way that one was written, but so when I read this, I was taken aback, and I was like, this is how it's done. This got me good. Kind of figured out one part of the ending, which I feel like most people probably can, as it like unravels, but then you get that big twist and you're like, oh, okay. And then you like question everything you've read so far in the whole book. I think I rated this 4 stars. It wasn't as good as the Rock Paper Scissors I read by her, but I'm still going through all of her books to see which one is my favorite. But highly recommend. Serenading Heartbreak by Ella Fields. This is one of the only romances I read No, I read a few, but not many this month. This is about, it's actually love triangle, which is not my favorite trope, but the way this was written wasn't like a cheating trope or anything like that. This was like true love triangle. It's basically about this girl who, when she was younger, growing up, her brother's best friend, they were starting a band, he was troubled, he's kind of like in a negative way his character is written. Did that make sense? She has a connection with him when they were younger, but it never ended up working out. And then in college, she met someone else. His name is, I think his name was Nate. Like, I feel like a complete lie. That's the thing. Aiden. It's Aiden. Why did I think his name was Nate? Anyway, he was a baseball player, and he is like, I guess you could say like playboy baseball player, but right from the first glance at the main character girl, it was a connection. She's fighting with the difficulty and the struggle of her childhood lover coming back in her life and keep coming back, and so toxic and just so not right. But she like loved him all of her childhood. It's just her soulmate basically, but then she has this great relationship and great connection with Aiden. I'm not gonna tell you who my favorite was, because I feel like if you read this, I just want you to figure it out and you to have your own opinion before I say anything. But I did have a favorite. The one thing I didn't love was the ending. I don't love that. If you've read it, you know, like the issue comes about at the end. My favorite thing that happens in a book. I don't know how to say it without giving stuff away, but I don't like when authors think that that's the way that they should, and it's just not my favorite way to end the book. It did, I feel like, get a little like back and forth, but like that was the point of the book, so it didn't really bother me too much. Sometimes I was just like, okay, just like girl pick someone. It was really good. I actually really enjoyed this. I think I gave this 4 stars, possibly 3. I think I gave it 4. Okay, and then I started the Avatar series, Of Course, Thorns and Roses. I have my reading vlog on that if you want to see me read this. It's spoiler free, but then I have a little bit of spoilers at the end of it if you've already read the book. This one I think I gave 4 stars. Really enjoyed this more than I thought I would, because I went into it knowing how hyped of a series this is. My mind struggles with that because then I have so many expectations, and I actually went into this a little bit blind because I knew the essence of it. I knew kind of what it was about, but not really. It's very fast paced, which I enjoyed, because a lot of fantasies for me are hard to get into because the world building and then like trying to understand like the politics of the new world and everything like that can get like boring to me. But this went like right into the storyline, and then you get the character development and the story and the world building and everything as it goes on. I really like the ending of this. I loved the characters in this. This really manipulated me. I think it deserves the hype that it gets. This one definitely. I think if you're a romance reader, I think this is definitely an easy read to read, even though it's fantasy. Like if you're not a fantasy reader, you love romance, like this is a good way to get into fantasy, I feel like. That's if you want to go into the series. It is a thick series, but if you want to give it a try, honestly, I highly recommend. I absolutely loved the first one. Then we get into the second one. I'm doing a reading vlog of reading the rest of the series, so I haven't really talked about this online yet. Okay, second one, so good. It's a pretty big book. It's over 500 pages, but this one, I think I gave this 4 stars. What I loved is how the first one ended, and then you go into this one, and it doesn't like drag on the storyline from the first. It's like a new storyline, new characters. You're getting more of the world and politic and backstories of so much character development. That's why I love this one so much. The only issue I had with this one, well, actually, before I get into the issue, loved the romance in this one. Like, when I tell you if you're a romance reader and you want to try fantasy, like, you're gonna love this one. It's like a slow burn to get into, but it's so good. The issue that I had was you have such a big main character in the first one, and all of a sudden, they're not really a part of the second one. Some parts, I was like, okay, why did we get so manipulated and tricked? And then you read the second one, and you're like, where are they? You know? But I will say I did learn my favorite character from these books so far. I don't know if he's supposed to be one of my favorite characters. I just love his character, Lucian. I still don't know how to say his name. One of my favorite like side characters. Like, I don't know what it is. I talk about it in the reading vlog, like there's reasons not to like him, but for some reason I like him. Doesn't make sense. But this is like a favorite for everyone in the series, so I see why. It's very good. Then we have the third one. I'm kind of putting this in here just to tell you guys that I am reading this, but I'm on page 390. I'm like a little over halfway. I did not finish this, so that's why I said in the beginning of the video I read 10.5 books. This is the half. The beginning I absolutely loved. I was like, I might like this better than the second one, and then it just like fell a little flat. But now I just finished all the rest of the books that I had to read this month, so when I'm getting back into this, it's just like it really slowed down a little bit for me. I'm like waiting for it to pick up again, so I'm gonna pick this back up today and see how far I can get, but it's not bad. That's not why I stopped. It's just big series for me. I slump myself out, I burn myself out, and I don't know. The same thing happened with the Addicted series, and I haven't picked it up since, so I'm not gonna let myself do that. The fact that I'm also doing a reading vlog for this is helping me read it further and continue reading it, but I don't have a lot left, and that's what's like getting to me. I only have like 300 pages left, so I'm gonna try to get through it. It's just so thick. These books are so big, but so far so good. It's not bad. Like, none of it's bad. It's definitely hyped for a reason, and it's definitely really good. Then I read another Alice Feeney book, Sometimes I Lie. I actually got this sent to me by Bestie Liberty. She saw how much I loved her books in one of my recent uploads, and she had to send this to me off my wish list, and it made me so happy. I read this in a day. I love Alice Feedy's writing. This is about a woman who had an accident and she wakes up in a hospital bed, like sheet over her head and everything, but she can't open her eyes, she can't move, she can't speak, she is just awake in her mind. All she can do is hear, and she can hear her husband, her sister, the doctors, and what they're saying around her, and that's how she's trying to piece together what happened to her because she forgot. And it is so good because you get that point of view, present time, her hearing voices, trying to piece together what happened to her. She is just like no memory, and then you get like a little flashback of like, I guess like a diary of the childhood, and it kind of all just connects. And again, I'm reading this book and I'm trying so hard not let her manipulate me and not let her get me, but she did. I remember writing down what I thought was gonna happen as it was going, like as the pieces were going together, and as I was reading it and getting further into it, I was writing down every twist that I thought could happen and how she would get me, and not one of them was right. The ending was very good. It's so good. I love her writing so much. I can't express how highly I think of her. I think everyone needs to start reading her books. I like this one better than Daisy Darker because this one is about like the family. It feels like a good twist on like a basic kind of story, so like reading it wasn't my favorite. Like I feel like I've read books like that other than the ending because they never really end like that, but this one I liked more. Rock, Paper, Scissors are still my favorite, so I'm gonna go this weekend and get another book by her and we're gonna find out which one I like the best. But this one was so good. The ending, it got me. I did not guess it. I was trying so hard the whole time to figure out the twist that was gonna come, and not one of them did I figure out. I think I gave that one 4 stars too. Before We Were Strangers. I actually read this before, sometimes I lie, but someone sent me this. I don't have the paper, so whoever sent me this, thank you so much, because I binged this book. I literally forgot that I even read this because I started it nighttime and I stayed up until 3 a.m. and in one sitting binged this book. I loved it so much, and it's not a book where I loved because the writing was beautiful and it was such an in-depth love story. No, it was just a quick, easy romance read with some of my favorite tropes ever. And at the end there was like a little something that came up and I like didn't expect it. Oh my god, it was so good. This is about a guy, obviously, who works in a... The way that I literally blacked out, like I don't even remember what this is about. I just remember I loved it because it was like 1, 2, 3 a.m. and I'm binging the hell out of this. So it's Second Chance, which you know is my favorite. Best friend, lovers, strangers to lover, whatever. Those tropes in one that I was obsessed with. But I loved the setting of this because it takes place in New York. I loved how... Let me tell you what it's about first. About Grace and Matt, they met at college. Their dorms were right next door to each other. And he's a photographer, she was a musician, so they're in a New York school together. Right off the bat, they become best friends. They just spend every day together. Platonic at first, like it's no like romance, but they have this connection. And you get the flashback of when they were younger, so you see them connecting and stuff. It's like those kind of chapters. So again, you get their connection and what they do when they were younger. And I just, the aspect of him being a photographer and her, more her, him the photographer, I ate it up. I loved it so much. Oh my god, I love this book. And you get them connecting and whatever, and then he gets a job and they're graduating. They never end up connecting again. So then present time, he's in the subway or in the train station, something like that, and they make eye contact. She is on the subway / train and they look at each other and he's like Grace, she's like Matt, but the thing goes away and he's like chasing it down and he doesn't have her number. He can't find her socials, and it's just so good. I'm a sucker for anyone connecting when they were like a younger age. They weren't even that young, they were seniors in college, but like anyone connecting and then finding them again and like just having that like one true love and that's just soulmate connection come back together. I don't know why I'm a sucker for it. It was so good, but I didn't give it 5 stars. One, because I woke up the next morning and I was like, did I actually read that or did I dream that? And also because the ending again is like one of those endings that was just wrapped up too quick. I feel like, I don't know, but I gave it 4.5 stars. I loved this like so much. And I read another book by her, I think it was Swear on This Life, that I didn't really like that much. It was a good storyline. I feel like it had potential for like what the storyline was. This though, like I loved this. I really loved Matt. Grace I liked too. It gave very like when they were younger, like vintage couple, like cool Pinterest couple, and I was just obsessed. So obsessed. This book was really good and I've seen it like everywhere, and it's just like I finally got to reading it. Okay, so this is the part of the video where it's a little iffy because I just finished the last book and these 3 today, and I filmed a video that comes out in a few days after this, and the point of the video is not knowing what these books were, which you guys will see if you're gonna watch it. So I don't want to talk about these books because then I will ruin that video. I'm so sorry. I didn't even rate these on Goodreads yet. I'm not gonna rate them until I put that video out so people don't know what books they are. It's like a little secret thing that's going on. Here's my issue. I don't want to talk about them. I don't even want to tell you my ratings on them them because I need you guys to just watch that video. I did read 3 more books. I will say one is a romance, one is a fantasy, and one is a mystery. That's as much as I will give you. You guys will see my ratings, my reviews, and whatever in that video. It comes out a few days after this, so just please wait for it. I guess in my October wrap up, I'll just like quickly put these in briefly just so I can talk about them in a wrap up. I don't know if some people just watch my wrap ups and not watch regular whatever it is. The issue is just that I can't say anything, which I know is a big cliffhanger and it's like, Sarah, just say it, but I don't want to ruin the video. I don't want to because I was so excited for that one. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So I'm sorry. That is everything that I read this month. I feel like I was all over the place this month. Honestly, it's because of a lot of videos I've been filming with these books. Like, I think only 3 of these I read personally that I really wanted to read. The rest of them were for reading vlogs slash videos that I was doing. So I'm gonna try this next month to read more leisurely because the reading vlogs are getting a little, I don't want to say forceful, but I feel like I like have to read them. I don't know, it's weird because I want to read what I'm reading for the reading vlogs, but then like it feels different because I'm like filming it. I don't know how to really explain that. I have a lot of reading vlogs that I'm gonna film this month, but I'm going away for a week and I have a bunch on my TBR card that I've been staring at for so long, so I'm gonna try to get to those as well as have these fun reading vlogs for you because I have a few, obviously the ACOTAR series and like 2 other book slash series I want to do for reading vlogs. But this month was just a little, not rough, but it was a little rough. I did find I'm not gonna say anything actually. I can't. You guys just have to watch the video in a few days. I hope you guys enjoy it and I hope you guys watch it because if you want to see the last 3 books that I read this month, you're gonna have to. Enough from me. I always film these wrap up videos and then by the end of it, again, I black out and I just don't know what I said. So hopefully I didn't spoil any books. I always fear that when I film these videos, I say something that I probably shouldn't have about a book because sometimes I'll watch like other people talk about books and I have to skip it just in case they slip something up and I just can't know things. I can't know the spoilers. It might just be a me thing. So yeah, I hope I didn't spoil anything. I hope I explained the books well. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. I'm very bad at explaining plots of books because I read them and then I forget what they're about. And as much as, even though I have my notes about even though I have notes about the books that I've read throughout the month and whatever, I still seem to forget everything. Again, I'm just spitting words out of my mouth at this point. That's all the books that I read this month. Let me know if you read any of them, if you like any of them, any recommendations for my next month, and any of your thoughts down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you hopefully in the next one. I hope so, because I'm excited to show you guys the last 3 books of the month. So please watch it. Anyway, okay, have a great day. Goodbye.